know, I'm going to direct this question to both of you. After hearing a little bit about the histories of your companies, I am curious about your definition of success. You both have experienced success in the technology market, which is difficult to some. I mean, Kip, you've been able to stand the test of time, and Wayne, you've been able to identify a new segment that had, you know, a need that hasn't been met yet. Mm-hmm. What is your definition of success, and do you consider yourself successful? And let's start with you, Kip.
Well, I think we've been successful, but there are a lot of measurements. I think number one is, are you growing? And not just are you growing as a business, number of employees, your billings, those types of things, but are you growing with the market? Are you keeping up and keeping pace with new technologies and developing those into, in our case, developing those into projects and products that can benefit businesses on and on. And so, yeah, I think we are. The test of time is always going to be, in my opinion, for a business, change. And so a business, especially a small business, can either adopt to that change and use it to its advantages, looking for, in our case, looking for new technologies, looking for new ways to do new and useful and valuable things for businesses and organizations online. Or if you don't stay up with the change, then eventually you become a dinosaur, and that happens a lot.
What about you, Wayne?
Well, I think the first element of success is preparation, and that's what we've spent primarily most of our resources on to date, and that is being ready for the opportunities as they present themselves, fully understanding the deliverable component side. Videos on the internet started off, and maybe audio didn't match the moving mouth, if you will, and that was one of our early challenges, was to overcome that, and in our progressive stream we think we have. So I think we've been very successful in building the platform to grow. And as Kip said, of course, that's the key element. But we are seeing that in terms of new opportunities with intranet. We have a few large companies that are using our product to more effectively communicate with staff and associates, present strategic plans and that sort of thing. So yes, I think we're on the right track.
And to compliment Wayne, it's very rare to have experience in web video in this industry. Almost nobody has any experience. Brightcast has. They've produced hundreds of videos for all sorts of different businesses and industries over a very short period of time, and so that degree of experience is very rare to find, particularly in new emerging technologies. You know, we had the same luck when we were started. We had an opportunity to do work in the internet very, very early, and that gave us some experience to grow with as well. And so it's one of the things that every business needs to succeed is to find that germ of experience and magnify it as often as quickly as they can, and then they can build upon that for their business offerings. Well,
and then based on that, there are advantages that a small business has to do those things, as opposed to a larger business who has to go through so many different channels. Do you see that that's how you've been able to continue to compete effectively?
I think so. Your size kind of has a double-edged sword as you grow. Because we're small and fast, we're also agile. We can adopt and experiment with new ideas much more quickly than, say, a larger organization. But at the same time, we better pick those new ideas very carefully, because if you have limited resources like a smaller business does, you better pick the right ones to experiment with, or you've used up all your time.
Mm-hmm. Good answer, good answer. Well, on the flip side, what has been one of the most difficult challenges you have faced as small business owners?
As far as Brightcast is concerned, I think the greatest challenge has been market acceptability from the standpoint of larger companies with established IT departments. They have a tendency by personality to be very territorial. The not invented here, if you will, and is it going to adversely affect what I've already put in place in terms of systems and processes, which it does not, and that's the beauty of the external streaming that we do that can be outside your system. But that's been the greatest challenge, and quite frankly, that's what one of the primary elements that led us to the strategic partnership with CC Communications, because we realize what our strengths are, and that's producing and delivering internet video. We do not have the technical expertise that CC Communications has in terms of internet marketing and software and development and engineering to support that. So that gave us additional strength to bring to the table in order to have the total package.
So basically what you're saying is you introduce something new, like a strategic partnership, with which I want to talk about more in a few minutes, to help you overcome that challenge.
That's correct.
What challenges have you guys overcome over the past 14 years?
Well, sometimes your challenges can be your biggest opportunities. I think the idea of an outsourced company, which is the role that we both play very often, if we can be seen as a partner, almost an internal extension of the organization to which we serve, instead of an outside vendor. If we're seen as an inside partner, then we can actually help that organization see opportunities and use our services to their greater advantage. And so the challenge of sometimes you're an outsider versus an insider can actually be turned around if you can find a way to have a partnership. And just as if our two companies have partnered together to offer additional services for both of our clients, we also have that same attitude when we both approach new clients and say, we're bringing a whole new set of skills and opportunities and resources where we can partner with you to help you accomplish things. And very often that changes the relationship and opens up the door for a lot of good growth on both sides, the client and us.
So what I'm hearing from both of you basically is you've taken the ego out of it. You have decided to grow your business. I mean, it's true, and a lot of small businesses go into it where I'm the biggest, best, and I'm going to let everybody know it, and the business will come my way. But it sounds like you've set aside any egos or pretentiousness and said, you know what, we offer a product or service to businesses that we may need help in presenting those to other people, whether it be by strategic partnerships or making a client or vendor feel like, you know, we're on the same team, we work for the same company.
I don't know, we don't have time for egos, and we don't have the luxury of them. For the most part, if we're really just focusing on doing the best job we can for our customers, either finding a creative solution to tell a story or finding an innovative way to solve a logistical problem, whatever it is we're trying to do, if we're focused on that and focused with good intentions on helping the client, the ego doesn't even come into it because you're just too busy working on the next problem.
And that's why we're sitting here today, because you guys are successful and you figured that out.
Well, if I could add a comment, I think your accounting financial side of an organization is going to put both Kip's business and Brightcast on the expense side of the ledger. Some people look at it as an option. I think what we try to focus on is it is truly an investment for our clients. And if we can't give them the tools to measure that, showing them a payback, then I don't think we've done our job. So it definitely has to be an investment to work for everybody.
And I think that's true. Video and internet, new technologies. When we first started 14 years ago, we used to say that having a website was going to be more prevalent and more important than having a yellow page ad or a business card. And today, that's almost true. Both are still important, the business card and the yellow page ad and everything else that you might have done in the past. But the internet now is a requirement to do a business. Web video is going to also be that type of requirement because people are wanting to communicate in as many different ways, effective ways, as they possibly can. And it's going to be an essential, not a luxury, I think, for everyone very, very soon.
Sure.